Before anyone found the bodies, they found the tent. It was standing alone on a frozen mountainside in the northern Ural Mountains, half buried in snow, abandoned in one of the most hostile places in the Soviet Union. Inside were boots, coats, blankets, food, supplies, everything 9 experienced hikers needed to survive the night. But the hikers were gone, and when searchers examined the tent more closely, they found something almost impossible to understand. The tent had been cut open from the inside. Whoever had been inside had not calmly packed up and left. They had torn their way out into the freezing darkness, leaving behind the very things that could have kept them alive. The temperature outside was deadly. Some had no shoes, some had barely any clothing, and yet all 9 walked away from their only shelter. None of them made it back. In January 1959, a group of young Soviet hikers set out on a winter expedition through the Ural Mountains. They were students and graduates, led by 23-year-old Igor Dyatlov. They were not amateurs. They were experienced enough to take on difficult winter routes. Originally, there were 10 of them, but one member, Yuri Yudin, became unwell and turned back. It was a decision that saved his life. The remaining 9 continued deeper into the mountains. On the evening of February 1st, they pitched their tent on the exposed slope of a mountain called Kolatchakal. The weather was poor, the terrain was remote, but they had shelter, equipment, and experience. Then, sometime during the night, something happened. Searchers later found footprints leading away from the tent and down toward the forest. Some appeared to have been made by people wearing socks, one shoe, or no shoes at all. Around a kilometer away, near a cedar tree, the first 2 bodies were found. They were underdressed, shoeless, and near the remains of a small fire. 3 more were found between the cedar tree and the tent, as if they had tried to return to their shelter, but collapsed before reaching it. Months later, the final 4 were discovered, buried deep in snow inside a ravine. Some had severe injuries, including chest and skull fractures. One body was missing soft tissue, a detail that later became one of the most disturbing parts of the legend. The original Soviet investigation concluded that the hikers had died because of an unknown or compelling natural force. That vague phrase helped turn the tragedy into a mystery that has lasted for more than 60 years. Some people blamed secret military testing. Others pointed to strange lights in the sky, local attacks, escaped prisoners, and even supernatural theories. But the strongest modern explanation is less dramatic and perhaps more frightening. A small slab avalanche may have hit the tent during the night. Not a huge avalanche sweeping down the mountain, but enough snow and pressure to terrify the hikers inside, possibly injure some of them, and make them believe they had seconds to escape. If the entrance was blocked, cutting through the tent may have seemed like the only option. Once outside, they may have moved downhill toward the forest, believing it was safer than staying on the slope. But they had left without boots, without proper coats, without time. In the dark, in the wind, in temperatures that could kill, survival became almost impossible. Hypothermia would have weakened them, confused them, turned simple decisions into desperate ones. Some tried to make a fire. Some may have tried to return to the tent. Others may have searched for shelter in the ravine, but none survived the night. Maybe there was no monster on that mountain, no secret weapon, no impossible force. Maybe the most disturbing explanation is that 9 experienced hikers woke in darkness, believed their shelter was no longer safe, and made the only decision they thought they had left. They cut their way out. They walked into the snow, and the mountain gave them no second chance. But one question still remains. What did they hear, feel, or see inside that tent that made the freezing darkness seem safer than staying where they were? This was Orynvale, where the record fades